For more updates, click on subscribe and click on bell button for latest notifications. Hello friends, welcome to Tech ARKIT YouTube channel. My name is Ravi. In this video session, we are going to see that how to set up Ansible lab. So Ansible lab is like for our course practice and how we can set up and what is the requirement you have to have. So what is the operating system you need, what is the configuration for the system you required for to set up the Ansible lab. So let's start it. So now if you can see this, so Linux, actually the Ansible requires Linux operating system. So what you can do is that you can set up different platforms, like you can set up one is a Linux operating system with 7 and one is for 8 and one is Ubuntu and one is SUSE, something like that. So as you are starting as a basic, like for the Ansible, so as a beginner, so you have to first of all test on the only Linux operating system with the same platform, so that it would be do not hesitate you whenever you do something. So that's why I recommend you to do for the beginner. As you are starting as a beginner, you can install CentOS 7 or CentOS 8 or Ubuntu 18 or Ubuntu 19, any platform which is easy for you or which you are currently working on, maybe. Or if you do not have any experience, I say go ahead with the 7 or 8, CentOS 7 or 8. So in this session, so we are going to install CentOS 8 and configure the Ansible. So for here master node, so if we will have one master node and 3 other nodes. So which are the nodes do not have any client installed, so the master node is installed with the Ansible. So all the nodes, the minimum 4 GB RAM is required, because that is a requirement from the CentOS, like the operating system is minimum requirement is 2 GB. So if you done with the 2 GB also, that would be fine. With the minimal installation, that works as well. But if you are going with a GUI interface as a beginner, then you have to have 4 GB RAM for each machine, so that it won't be slow whenever you are accessing the machine. And minimum 2 CPU cores, so for the virtual machine would be enough. And master for 100 GB hard disk, so for the virtual machine. And all the other nodes have to have at least 40 GB hard drive. And so from the master to all the other nodes, network communication will be enabled, and all the nodes would be enabled with SSH server installed and configured. Then we are going to configure the EPEL repository on all of these nodes. Then install Ansible only in master node. So we are going to install only Ansible on master node only. So this is how the setups looks like. So we will have the master node and node 2, node 3, node 4. So here we will have the SSH communication in between all of these and network communication. Then from the master node, all the nodes will have the keyless password, the passwordless authentication from master to node 2, node 3, node 4, all that stuff. So how we are going to set up these, let's do it on the let's go into the practical and do it. Let's see. So guys, I have here a VMware workstation Pro 5 Pro. So you can use maybe a virtual box, or if you are familiar with VMware workstation, you can also do this. So there are also some express version is also available for the VMware workstation. You can download, that is an open source one. So now, so what I'm going to do here, it is that I'm just going to create a new folder. I say Ansible lab. So just for more easy stuff, So now I'm going to just create the new virtual machine here. So say new virtual machine and custom, and say here I would like to select the so maybe I will install the operating system later. So here select the Linux and CentOS 64-bit. Okay, next, and here I will say Ansible master. So here the process I required maybe 4, 2 would be enough, 2 cores would be enough. So here I am going to give 8 GB because I have the system. So here I'm going to use the NAT network, NAT. So use NAT so that it would be easy to communicate in between the host. So I'm just going to use the LSI logic here and SCSI and create the new virtual disk. Say here it's 100 GB and store in single. So now, so here if you have any other which is do not wanted, which you don't want, so you can just delete them and click finish. So now my virtual machine has been created, Ansible master. So I'm just going to drop in Ansible lab. So here, and in similar way, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to install the operating system in this machine. So say ISO file from, I just go to here and my CentOS, I just downloaded my CentOS. So here attach that and connect and power on the machine. So now install CentOS. So it start loading the operating system. It's just booting from ISO file. So CentOS 8.0 1905 and click continue. So software selected is as server GUI and installation destination. So let me configure, click customize and go ahead and create the LVM automatically. So you can, it will create the LVM automatically. Here you can see that the slash is 50 GB, boot is 1 GB is enough, and swap is 8 GB and home is 41 GB. So that is what we required. So not worry about this, all the partitions. So just click done and say accepted. So here this is what we required. So now set up the time. So okay, and keyboard server with GUI. So maybe you can select if you want anything, maybe server anything. So but for now this machine I'm just going to use GUI. So and set up the network if you have, and here I'm just going to say Ansible master dot tech arkit dot local is my virtual machine name. So it is applied. So now switch on the here, and I'm just going to set up, this is a static IP address here. So I just disable the IPv6 to avoid conflicts. 192.168.48 dot maybe I can say 200. So here 0. Okay, so my DNS server IP also is same, so 2. Okay, so this is the IP settings. I am just going to manually add, because every time I don't want to change my Ansible master IP address. So click done. Now begin the installation and set the root password. So whatever it is, I'm just setting the password here. So now maybe you can create, if you want, a new username. So here I'm just going to use so I'm just going to use this one, make this as okay. So now the installation will start installing the operating system. Let's wait for a few minutes so the installation will complete. In the meanwhile, what we are going to do is that we are going to create the Ansible nodes as well. So just going to create the new virtual machines here, and Linux and CentOS 6. And I say node 1, so maybe 2 processors. Here I'm just going to give 2 GB. So this 20 GB is enough for this, and click and now settings, select this ISO, okay, power on. So now I'm just going to install this machine as well. After that I do not install all this node 2, node 3, node 4, so because I'm just going to clone this machine node 1, and so that for the node 3 to node 4 as well. Click continue, simple. And so here instead of GUI, if you go with minimal installation also, that would be fine for the clients. So I just say minimal installation, or maybe server. So I'm just going to set up the custom partition here and say LVM automatically creates. That's it. Set the root password. So, and if you want create, you can create the user here. That's it. So now the machine is going to be ready in few minutes. Let's wait for the installation to complete. So now operating system is installed successfully. So we have to click on reboot for the machine to be rebooted. So now I'm just rebooting both master and node. So after the restart, so it is asking for the confirming the license configuration. You can just click on a license agreement and finish the configuration. For the GUI mode, it start the GUI configuration, GUI here for the Ansible master, and node 1, so it is not a GUI, just a server, so it will not ask anything here. So now what we have to do is that we have to shut down this machine. So just log in here and do systemctl power off. So now node 1 is powered off. As per our requirement, this is not node 1, this is node 2. Okay, so now what you have to do is that you can simply click here and clone this one. Okay, so manage and clone, next, and the current state, and create the full clone. So now I say this is node 3, finish. So clone creation has been completed. Now I can see node 3 and drag into this Ansible here. So now again I'm just going to clone this one, clone, and again current state, and create the full clone and say node 4. So minimum 2 or 3 systems would be fine for us, but we are going to create 4 nodes. So just like if you wanted to do some other practicals as well, so here, so if you do not have any system or the laptop to create your lab, so you can just sign up for the AWS free instance, free tier, using your credit card or debit card. Then you can also create the lab there. So in next section I am going to show you that how you can create the Ansible lab on AWS as well. Okay, let's see that in your next session. So let's see that the cloning is going to be complete. So clone has been done. Now we have created this Ansible master, node 2, node 3, node 4. So what you have to do after the clone, so you just edit this node 3 because it is not freshly installed. You can delete this network adapter. So what you have to do is just to delete this one and add the new network adapter here. So new network adapter with the NAT configuration and click OK, because while cloning, so the same settings will come, so the MAC address will be conflict. So you just remove this and add the new network adapter over here, so that should be fine. Okay, so now node 2, node 3, node 4 is ready. So after this, so what you have to do is that you just have to say take the snapshot. So here take the snapshot as fresh OS. So whenever you would like to reset these machines, so again back to the fresh machines, so we can revert back to the snapshot. So that's why you just take the snapshot. So it would be very easy for us to, whenever you would like to reset, so you can simply reset that one. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just say fresh OS. After the installation we will take one more snapshot so that we can revert it back whenever we required back to this one. So now you just power on all the machines, 1 2 3 4, sorry, so one is already on, one is in the sense master. So now our machines is switched on, it's switching on. So after that, so what you have to do is that you just have to log into your machine and set up your host name, IP address, all the details, and install the Ansible. Okay, so here, so I'm just English, so this is the first setup. Okay, now my machine is on, and you can say wired connections and wired settings here. So this machine is, I already set up the connection, so that's why it shows the IP address as well. See this, so which is already set up. Okay, for this no need to do anything, so just we have to verify that okay, node 1. So just log into node 1. and you can see an empty UI, which is very easy for us to set the host name here. So now I'm just going to set node2.techarkit.local and click OK. So the node setting has been changed. Now edit the connection. So you already have the network configuration here, you just have to edit that one. You can see this. Okay, so now say here it is manual and show. So IP address, just say add 192.168.48.201/24. so this is my node 2 IP address, and I'm just going to add the gateway 192.168.48.2. okay, and DNS, if you want to add, you can add it, because we required a internet connection for this, so that's why I am adding the DNS over here. So techarkit.local is the domain name which I would like to search it, and click automatically connect here. So now say OK, back and click OK. So now 192.168.48.200, yes, I'm able to reach 200 successfully. So that's what I need from this machine. In similar way, you have to set all these node name and IP address details. Let me quickly set up this one. So now I set all of these machines host names and IP address, and communication is working 192.168.48.201. so I'm able to reach node 2, and I'm able to reach node 3, and I'm able to reach it's 203. so I'm able to reach all of the nodes. Now what I have to do is that we have to set up the local host configuration. So if you already have the DNS, add the DNS address. If you do not have any DNS, then you can have to edit the host file. So here is the host file. In this, what we are going to do is that we are going to set up that Ansible lab machines. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to add 192.168.48.200. I say Ansible master dot techarkit.local, and I say short name is master. Okay, here I'm just going to add one more entry 201 and node2.techarkit.local, and the short name is node 2. Okay, in similar way I just copy paste this one and replace this IP address to this address is 3, and replace node 3 and node 4. so here also short name would be node 3 and node 4, and save the configuration. So because when I would like to just call master, it pings, and when I called node 2, it just pings. Okay, like that. So for easy method, we are just going to do this one. So now what you have to do is that you have to install a EPEL repository. So we have to configure the EPEL repositories. So for here, to access all the machines in a single place, you can install maybe a multi-tab putty, or maybe you can also use any tools, but here I'm just going to use mremote-ng, which is the tool I use, which is very handy and useful for me. Okay, so I'm just going to use this tool here. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to add all of these connections here. Okay, so I'm just going to add the master, and this is the SSH2 version, and IP address 192.168.48.200 and the username and the password. So this is because very easy for me to access, so that's why I'm just going to set this up as this one. So I'm just going to clone this one, duplicate and duplicate all of them and rename this one to node 2 and rename this to node 3 and rename this to node 4. So now I'm just going to change the node 2 IP and node 3 IP and node 4 IP address. That's it. So now I'm just going to connect node 2, node 3, node 4, all of them. Okay, node 3 is connected, node 4 is connected and node 2 also connected. So just like this, node 2, node 3, node 4. Okay, so just go to here and say EPEL repository, the Fedora projects EPEL, and click here this one, EPEL repository, and copy the link address here. Okay, so now just go to here and say install the RPM path here simply and install this RPM. So this RPM, what it will do is that it will just configure the repository m.repos.d. you can see this. So this is the CentOS and EPEL repository is also configured. In similar way, you can just go ahead and configure this EPEL repository and all the machines, because we have to download some of the packages whenever we write the playbook and install something and configure something on all the nodes. So that time we no need to be in surprise that it may not have the M repository. So if you want to have, you can also configure the local repository, but in local repository you may not have the Ansible package on the master node, but for the remaining nodes it works fine, because most of the packages what we are going to install is only the Ansible package for the master, and remaining are local packages. So in order to install the Ansible, first of all you have to install this Python 3, Jinja 2, Python 3, these two packages. So I'm just going to install them here. So now accept this. Let's install the Ansible from EPEL playground repository. So you have to specify that repository to install the Ansible. So let's check it up, the Ansible package is there on this repository or not. So yes, so now you can see that Ansible 2.8.5.2, which is going to be installed along with the SSH pass and libsodium, Python 3 and Paramiko. Say yes. So here you have to be very careful whenever you are installing, because whenever you say directly installing the Ansible, which may not sometimes work. So here you have to remember this command to install the Ansible. So now let's say that Ansible version. So Ansible version 2.8.5 has been installed successfully on the master node. So from next session we are going to see that how to configure the Ansible groups, like how you can configure the Ansible host groups for setting up our Ansible environment. So that's about it guys for this session. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Look at the description for more Ansible playlist and questions and answers. If you have any topics, you can also post on the comment box, or there is a URL to post the topic, so that we will make the new videos for you. Please follow us on social networking sites. One is Facebook. The Facebook page name is at Linux ARKIT. You can click on this button here and click like page so that you can follow us on Facebook. The next one is Instagram. Instagram name page name is arkit.co.in. Click on follow button to follow me. And Twitter, if you have any questions on subject line, or if you have anything, you can just tweet me at ravikumar48, so I will reply you most on the tweet back. For anything related, if you want to latest articles on my website, so here is my website details and email address details. You can reach me over here.